Hi, this is Jessica Fox from Florida Virtual Bookkeeper. Today I'll be talking about the benefits of having templates to spend less time on administrative stuff, more time in expanded client capacity, or working less hours so you have more time to enjoy life, spend time with your family. So why bother with templates? The biggest thing is a huge time saver. If you are not creating the same stuff over and over, you're working faster, spending less time on the boring stuff. It also helps you be consistent. You want to have the standard and professional image that you maintain throughout the entire process with your clients and through all of your clients. When one client refers somebody to you, they already come to you with an expectation of how professional you are. So by having templates, it helps you maintain that experience consistently. And if you have a team or if you're not there yet, when you do, they will thank you because it will make their job that much easier. Also important when you have a team, especially when it comes through communications, is by maintaining that professional standard. It doesn't matter who is writing the communication to the client, things will be the same. And you don't have to worry about their spelling or their grammar because that's taken care of. So there are different types of templates that you will use in your practice. The most popular ones that we all know as is contracts, what we usually know as the engagement letter. And it is important to have a standardized contract for this. There are lots of templates out there. I do encourage you to make sure that you have it reviewed by your attorney to make sure that it is in your best interest, that nothing important is missing, and that it is in compliance with local laws. And proposals. I've seen people that create a proposal from scratch every single time. That is very time consuming on something that you may or may not get a reward from. You may or may not close the deal. Your proposals should be standardized where all that you need to do is add the things that will change. The prospect's name, the name of their company, the proposed scope of service, and the proposed fees. Everything else should already be in place. Questionnaires. We use lots of questionnaires in our work. It could be from a lead discovery questionnaire just to learn about their business, an onboarding questionnaire to get all the details that you need to set up their file and deliver the service, and fulfillment questionnaires to follow up with the client with whatever information that you may need to collect during the service cycle. And as you have heard me talk about, if you've ever heard me talk, checklists and workflows is very, very important for you to have this in place. And once you create that template once, you don't have to touch it again unless you find some room for improvement. And emails. This is really something that is overlooked and I am very passionate about. If you're going to use anything more than once, you should be creating a template for it. I am a very big advocate of never write the same email twice. So how do you get started with this? Well, any sort of template is better than none at all. When I first started, I used to have all of my email templates in Evernote, and then I would just search by keyword, copy, paste, tweak, send. It was better than nothing. May not have been the most efficient method, but it was already saving me time. And those days where I may not feel very eloquent, I didn't have to think about how to write things the right way or professionally or nicely. So it made that process very smooth because I really didn't need to stop and think, okay, how am I going to convey this message? The message was already written. So I recommend the pro tips is don't reinvent the wheel. There's lots of templates out there. The Pure Bookkeeping system gives you a huge library of templates for almost anything that you can think of from all stages of the cycle. From sales and marketing, templates for your prospects, even if you're talking to other accountants, to when you're hiring, what to use for an ad, what to use for your HR manual, to your onboarding, your client intake questionnaire, setting up their file, the folder structure, to the fulfillment, all of the checklists that you will need to make sure that you are delivering a complete, consistent, and accurate service. But if not, yeah, you could choose to reinvent the wheel. That's what I did at first. It was very time consuming. It was very enlightening too. But if you don't have the time, I don't recommend you go that way. Up to you. And I do recommend to have your contract configured for e-signing. In this day and age, the only time you will be getting a wet signature is if you're actually meeting the person face to face. Then it makes sense to have them sign with a pen and paper. But in my case, I work virtually. Even if I didn't, it's so much easier to just click and sign, and it's just as legally binding. It's so much easier. I do not recommend that you keep your contract in Word. You can definitely use it to create the template, but once you have the template nailed down, if you're not using another app, at the very least, create it and turn it into a fillable PDF. That way your formatting will stay the same, because the software is finicky. You know, you may update to the newer version and things move around and it's a pain in the neck to get it back to looking right. If you set it as a PDF, you can add fillable fields in the sections that will change, like the date, the name, the scope of service, the price, and anything else that may vary. But everything else is in place. And an advantage of having that PDF with fillable fields is that if later on you decide to go even more pro and use an app, it's easy to get it e-signed. You don't have to start over from scratch. For your forms and questionnaires, I really recommend that you look into a web form app. There's lots of them. Some of them are free, some of them are not. They all have their pros and cons. I have opinions about which are good, but what my opinion, it doesn't matter in your practice. Decide what's best for you. But you really shouldn't be sending a Word document for them to fill out, or a PDF that they have to print and then scan. That's very old school. It's inefficient. Your client is going to be annoyed. If you take advantage of the technology, your client is going to love how much easier and faster it is, and you will have a higher rate of response. Less nagging. Yay. So I recommend that you take advantage of inbox tools in terms of using email templates. Not all inboxes may offer it. I do know that if you use G Suite, they do have email templates as an option. But if you have a CRM, email templates may be available. So if you have that, or if you're identifying an app to use, if I were you, I will make that one of my must-have features, because it has been really worth it for me. But if you don't have any of these tools, start somewhere. Even if it's just creating a Google Doc where you have your templates in place and then you just copy, paste, tweak, and send, it's still going to be so much more efficient and faster. So where do you start? At the very least, start with never writing the same email twice. When I was starting out, I made the mistake of thinking I needed to get all of my templates done at once. So realistic, not at all. So start as you go. Anytime you create something new, save it for future use. One of the things that is very important is think about how you're going to name it and organize it so you can find it easily again in the future. It's not going to do you any good if you saved it and then you don't know where it is. You have 1,000 folders, 1,000 files, the file names make no sense. You don't know how to find it. Whatever time savings you had gained from creating the template were lost in trying to find the template. So think about how you're going to use this in the future, and make sure that the way that you store it makes sense in that sense. Anything that's together should be in one folder. So all of the lead management templates should be together. All of your onboarding templates should be together. All of your fulfillment service templates should be together. And then think, if I create this today and I don't use it for 3 months, when I go to use it, what keyword will I use to search for it? Then make sure that keyword is in the file name. That way, you don't need to even remember what folder it's in. You can use the search feature, type that keyword, and it's there. Then also find the right apps. There's lots of apps out there that can help you, and that's why I said app or apps. For me personally, my app stack when I was implementing all of these systems in place was getting too big, too out of hand. I was getting overwhelmed with jumping between too many apps, having to have all this browser window open just to run my practice. So for me, it was important to find an app that had as many different features in one place as possible. That may not be important for you, but it may be a consideration. And for me, it's also in terms of bang for the buck. I want to get the best return as possible for the price that I am paying for the apps. So I am very passionate about 17 Hats. I have all of my templates in 17 Hats. That may or may not be a solution for you, but there are lots of other solutions to explore. So whichever you choose, I do recommend that you take advantage of that technology. So I'm going to go into 17 Hats really quick just to show you a quick overview of some of my templates. As you can see in 17 Hats, I can have templates for emails, for quotes, proposals, invoices, contracts, questionnaires, and it's unlimited. I have lots of templates. And I did not create all of these at once. These were created as I went. So anytime I wrote a new email, I saved it as a template. And as you can see, my nomenclature is very descriptive. And I have them sorted by the type of thing. This is an internal name. My client does not see nagging when I send them that email. It's only because in my mind, when I need to look for it, I am in nagging mode. So that's how I search for it. You can call it whatever you want, but make sure that it's a consistent naming set or rules and that it makes sense to you, that it will be the words that you will use going forward. So I have all of my templates here. Once I write them, I don't need to mess with them again unless I find room for improvement. I have different contract templates because my standard engagement letter is too comprehensive if I'm only doing a one-time project or if I'm only doing a file review. So it makes it easier to have different ones. Questionnaires for different things. It saves so much time to have this in place. So for example, in 17 Hats, I could take advantage of what are called tokens and custom fields to have these forms customized for me, saving me even more time. So in this example, is to a change order. This is when an existing client is adding or removing services, and we need to update the agreement to reflect the new scope of service and rate. Because I have custom fields set up in 17 Hats, it auto-fills all this information for me. So when I go to send this to the client, I add the template, take a quick look. I usually just update the date, send. Seconds, less than a minute, it's done. And it's consistent, and then they just click, sign, and we move on. Email templates. They also have tokens that you can insert to customize things and make it easier. Look at all the different options that you have available, all of the different signatures that you can set up for your email. This is an example of an email that automatically goes out to a lead. It thanks them for contacting me. It lets them know how to schedule a time to have a discovery call, and it includes a questionnaire for me to start learning about their business so that when I go to the call, I already have a pretty good idea of what follow-up questions to ask. This is an example of what a questionnaire will look like for the client. Your questionnaires are not limited to just onboarding things. You want to take a pulse of how the relationship is going. So I do have a questionnaire for feedback. And especially when I have advisory sessions or training sessions, this is automated part of my workflow. The moment I check that the session is completed, this automatically goes to the client. It's concise, straight to the point. They fill out. I know how they're feeling. I know if there's room for improvement. And if things are not well, I can take care of it to preserve the relationship. But you can create a questionnaire for whatever you want and need. There's multiple question types that you can create. So you have anything that you need, you can get all in one place. Your clients are just blown away by how efficient it is. This is a sample of what an email would look like to the client. Seeing here, this is my test client, so first name test, last name client. So that's why it says hi test. But obviously, if you had an actual name in there, it would say hi John, hi Sandra, whatever the name may be. And everything is in place. So when somebody signs up for an file review, they paid for it, they signed the contract. I don't need to do anything. This email went out to them. Actually, this isn't where they actually click down to view the estimate. My bad. This is the one that they get at first. So see how when they click in here, they view the estimate, they accept it, they sign the agreement, they pay the invoice. They already have the instructions on how to give me access to their books. So all I needed to do was click one workflow to get started, and all of that got done. And that is the beauty of templates. That's a pro move, obviously. If you have no templates, don't try to get all of this in place at once. Just focus on saving the communications in place. So that way, when you need to send a new email, you don't need to write it all over again. So I hope that this was helpful. I look forward to ideas and suggestions or any tips that I may have missed. I am only an email away. Jessica at floridavirtualbookkeeper.com. Bye.